Dogecoin got a pretty decent crash today. I was looking at this support, watching this uptrend in my last video this morning and talking about how that we were breaking this to the downside. I was telling you about the targets that I was looking at. I was looking at this previous bottom here. I was looking at the 38% level. I was looking at the 50% level. And then I was also watching this previous bottom right here. I had limit orders in all those spots. We came down and broke through and got all those limit orders filled. Right now, we are bouncing, or we're holding support right here on this trend line that I had been talking about. If we zoom out, let's go into the 4-hour time frame. We have support down here, and we have support right here, giving me an uptrend. And it looks like we're kind of holding support right on that uptrend, exactly what I was hoping for. I was hoping that we could come down, fill these limit orders, and then get a bounce to the upside. Like I said, I'm hoping that we can hold support and break out of this little downtrend that we're in right now. If we look on the 1-hour time frame, we have resistance pushing us to the downside until we break this down, or until we break this downtrend going to the upside. Then I think we're gonna, maybe it'll give us some resistance. So right now it looks like we're holding support. We might get a bounce, maybe touch this level and then come back down. Maybe it'll reject us. So you have to kind of watch out for this thing to give us some resistance and possibly continue to hold us down. But once we do break that, then I think we could start targeting this other trend that I was watching. We have resistance in a smaller little time frame. So let's go ahead and drag that. We have this little trend line going to the downside, something like this. I think if we break out of this trend line, the next target would be this trend line, which would be, I mean, from where my bottom position is now all the way up to there is around 15%. Actually, where the price is right now up to there is sitting at around 12%, depending on where we hit it. I mean, it could come over here at 11%, something like that. The target price would be approximately 0.19339 if we can break out of this area right here. So let's see if that happens. Or the other thing we could target are the Fibonacci retracement levels. I mean, the first one I would target is 0.18869. Start maybe, I mean, it could be resistance now, come down something like this. But yeah, let's kind of wait and see what happens. We did get support right on my limit order now, and it looks like we're right on that trend line too, like I was talking about. What were some of the other things that I wanted to talk about? The limit orders got filled. We have the big uptrend, and then we have that smaller downtrend. We also have this other downtrend that we have right here, resistance. So we have that resistance as well. When we break, let's say we come out of this one, let's say we break this downtrend right here, we're going to have to deal with this one. And then once we break this one going to the upside, then we're going to have to deal with this one. But I think after that, then I think it'll be easier for us to move up, and we'll be looking at the previous tops and to break those. So the next thing, let's see what else we got. Fibonacci retracement. So the Fibonacci, let's go ahead and delete some of this stuff. I'll show you how I got to like the limit orders that I'm looking at. And I want to stretch out the Fibonacci retracement because we're basically testing this bigger uptrend right now. So let's see. Let me show you with the pen real quick. I deleted some of the stuff. Okay, so we're testing this uptrend right here right now. So instead of us using the Fibonacci retracement from this bottom to this top, I'm going to go ahead and drag it from this bottom to this top. So let's go, which is going to give me different levels. So we're going to go ahead and drag this out because now we're looking at a retracement, not from that smaller trend, but from this bigger trend. So we might be looking at some of these levels now. And so let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and put horizontal lines at the Fibonacci levels. And the orange lines are usually my limit orders, and the yellow lines are my positions, or blue or green, depending on the size of them. Okay, so we'll drag this down here to the 61% level. So the new 50% level and the new 61% level is sitting at 0.15654 and 0.1400. We also have this previous bottom down here. Whoops, wrong tool. All right, let's go ahead and copy and paste this, and we'll drag this down here. This is this previous bottom. You might want to, I mean, it could be, you might want to give it a little bit of slack, or maybe to give it a little bit of room. You don't want to do it at the tip because then it might not get filled, but you kind of want to average it out down there. So we're lining it up with this previous bottom right here, and this level is sitting at 0.1258. And that's another possible one. Basically, we're just doing the same thing that we just finished doing, except in a bigger scale. I mean, in general, I'm trying to accumulate Dogecoin. So, like, I think hopefully we can go back to that .30 level eventually. And, yeah, that's basically my strategy right now. And I think the main things that I'm watching right now, let's go even to the 5-minute time frame. Like I said, I've been talking about this chart moves pretty fast. So sometimes we could even look at these 5-minute time frames to kind of draw patterns and see what's going on. This almost looks like a bear flag. We have a downtrend and then consolidation. If we break this downtrend if we break this bottom support going to the downside, then that could possibly be a continuation pattern. That one would be a conservative bull flag, which would take us down to the next Fibonacci level at 0.15654. Or if we get more liberal with that target from this top to this bottom, because basically you drag from the top to the bottom of the pole, and I don't know, if we drag out, it kind of looks like it starts. You could argue that it starts here, or you could argue that it starts here. So let's do the bigger target now. So if we drag from the top to the bottom of that pole, drag that to the potential breakout. I'm not saying that it's going to break to the bottom. I'm hoping that it breaks to the upside, but it's a flag potentially. So if we broke out to the downside, this target would be potentially 0.14628, somewhere around there. So yeah, that's something to be aware of. And like I said, I like watching these 5-minute time frames because it's actually gives you a clue what's going to happen next. So let's go back to the 1 hour, and what was I looking at before? It was a downtrend. Oh, it's this one right here. So we're looking at this resistance and then this resistance. It's kind of a shallow downtrend. So let's go ahead and do something like this. And that's basically the last thing that I'm watching. I mean, this is the next kind of thing that I'm watching that we have to break to start getting bullish, because technically we're going down. We're technically going down in a few different trend lines, like I was kind of going over. We have that one, and then we also have this one down up here. So these are the ones that we kind of have to break through before we can really start getting bullish. In my opinion, possibly buying opportunities though. I mean, if you're trying to dollar cost average down, or I don't know, if you're bullish in Dogecoin, then that's probably why you're watching this. So I think the other thing, let's go ahead and check out the 9 moving averages on some of these time frames. We broke below the 9 moving average, or the 9 moving average on the 4-hour time frame. Let me take off this trend line, but that's the main thing that I'm watching, is that trend line. So we broke below this 4-hour moving average right here, and we got a confirmation candle going to the downside right here. I think once we do have to break this 9 moving average going to the upside before we can start getting bullish as well. We might be able to come up, but once we usually break these 9 moving averages to the upside or to the downside, it'll usually either give us support or it'll give us resistance. And when we're below it, it's resistance pushing us down, and when we're on top of it, it's giving us support pushing us up. Right now we are below it, so, and we could come up, touch it, and get rejected on it. And so yeah, it's a place that it could give us trouble basically. So on the 4-hour time frame, we're below it. On the daily, we also broke below it, which is also not good, because on the daily it's a bigger time frame. I don't know, I think it's possible that we might break out of this trend line going to the downside, because one more thing that I actually do want to talk about before we go is the total crypto market cap. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So this is what I'm watching now. We could argue that you could drag this Fibonacci retracement all the way down here, and we haven't even broken that, but I'm watching this level, this trend right here. So we have this uptrend going like this. We have the Fibonacci retracement drawn from the bottom of this trend to the top of this trend. This chart is basically all the money in crypto. So right now we have resistance, 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 support, support, support. We're basically in this, or we were in that triangle pattern. It was kind of almost a pennant pattern, but we broke that going to the downside. So basically the same thing that you would do with Doge, or the same thing I would do with Doge, is hope that we can get bounces on these Fibonacci retracement levels. These are levels where we can kind of see, okay, is the total crypto market cap at this level? Maybe we can start getting a bounce. Or if we come down to the next one, maybe we can start getting a bounce. Like I said, I usually like watching the 50% and the 38% level. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit more blood in the water and we had to come down to these levels and go a little bit lower before we could actually go back up. I think corrections are good, then give things times to cool off, and then give trading opportunities as well. So, and buying opportunities. But yeah, we got all my limit orders filled, and I'm kind of curious if we're going to go down now. So let's see what happens. These next limit orders are .156, .140, and .125. Technically until, I guess, okay, so let me say this too though. We're still in this uptrend. Until we break this uptrend going to the downside, then I'm not really confident on these ones per se. Once we do break this one going to the downside, like we broke it today, but we're not closing below it. It doesn't seem like we're closing below it. And then, so if we closed below it, then that would be a problem. And if we got another candle below it, pushing us to the downside, then I would say, okay, now we can start looking at these levels a little more confidently. But we're still holding, so let's kind of fingers crossed that we continue on this uptrend and continue this bull market. But like I said, in that total crypto market, it looks like there could be a little bit more blood in the water. So we'll kind of see what happens. But yeah, I'll be keeping track of it. So go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and I'll see you in the next one.